Earth's oxygen levels are so low in 2039 that it is no longer habitable. There are very few people left on the planet who use masks attached to oxygen tanks to survive. Cities have turned into wasteland, and there are no longer any flora. Engineer Darius has left the family bunker in Brooklyn to clean the solar panels as his father visits a bookstore to pick up some new books for his granddaughter to read. The father trips over some rotting wood on the way out, falls through the floor, and hangs himself from the reception ceiling. His oxygen bag is damaged in the fall, and he begins to have breathing problems. After hearing about the problem over the communications, Darius dashes to the bookstore and makes an unsuccessful attempt to get his father out of the hole. Instead, he runs upstairs and manages to grab him by the feet, but it's too late, the man has passed away. Following that, Darius goes back to the bunker to inform his wife Maya and their daughter Zora of the dreadful news. Darius's engineering expertise and Maya's farming background have allowed for the bunker to have enough plants and oxygen to support a livable but not luxurious standard of living. Darius declares that his mother, who is buried in a cemetery more than 5 miles away, should be buried close to his father. Zora objects, citing possible danger, but Darius argues that he should be alright since they haven't seen anyone in 3 years. When Darius checks the machine that powers the bunker in the evening after everyone else has gone to sleep, he finds that the oxygen supply will run out in 2 months. Darius is faced with a difficult decision because the computer even claims that there has been compromise to the system. After bidding Zora goodnight for the night, Darius offers her the book her grandfather had given her. Zora then looks as Damien leaves while carrying the body captured on camera. Zora tries to contact him over the radio so he won't forget who he is, telling him strange tales like how he foresaw the oxygen crisis and no one believed him, but at least he managed to construct the bunker in time. Sadly, Darius never responds, and 5 months go by with no word from him. Zora and Maya make every effort to live independently. It is now their responsibility to exit the bunker and maintain the equipment. Even though they usually remember to pack a gun, Maya still gets upset when she goes off on her own to buy clothes. Fortunately, they should be safe for the time being because the bunker has a password-locked, extremely thick steel door. They try their best to keep each other company, but when it's quiet, it's clear that Darius is missing. Zora never gives up and keeps communicating with listeners over the radio, sharing stories of her family's pre-apocalyptic recollections. Maya doesn't give up either. She frequently plants seeds outside in the hopes that one day they may truly develop. To help Zora learn how to troubleshoot any problems they could have, she also makes up mistakes on the computer. Zora occasionally promises to go look for her father, but Maya tells her that she's already tried and stops her from going. The same arguments arise from this frequently. After doing maintenance one day, the two are outdoors when they notice 2 individuals suddenly arrive with a grocery cart. They flee to hide behind an ancient automobile and observe the intruders' attempts to break into the bunker. Though they don't succeed, it's strange that they know precisely which door to open. At that point, Tess, one of the other people, hears the disturbance and comes hunting for Maya and Zora with her weapon out while her partner Lucas climbs to the top to look for additional entries. Maya and Zora's system alerts them to their oxygen levels. Though cautiously approaching the car, Tess is unable to locate the woman. She hears Lucas trying to alert her to something on the radio at that same moment, but it's too late. After tackling her to the ground, Maya and Zora dash to the bunker so they may enter and shut the door before the outsiders can follow them. Maya then calls for an explanation over the communications. Tess affirms that they are harmless and that she, Lucas, and 25 other individuals reside in a bomb shelter outside of Philadelphia. They just had problems with their air filtering system, so they spent 3 days searching for Darius. Tess, who says she is a physicist who collaborated with him at the university, merely wants to look at the system he designed so she may replicate it. Even though she is aware of Maya and Zora's names, Darius has never brought her up, so Maya doesn't trust her. Zora abruptly mutes the microphone and gets into an argument with Maya about what to do next. Maya doesn't believe the shelter even exists, but Zora doesn't want the people living there to die. Zora persuades her mother to assist after much argumentation because they have the potential to significantly alter the world if Tess is able to replicate Darius' technology. Tess and Lucas are instructed by Maya to wait on their knees and put their weapons beside the entrance. She emerges with a revolver, orders Tess to bind Lucas' hands, and then ties Tess' hands as well. When Maya leads Tess toward the bunker, she first makes sure they aren't concealing any more weapons. Micah emerges from hiding as they are ready to enter and orders them to stop, but Maya fires just as Zora emerges and fires as well. Despite being hurt, Micah rushes and tackles Zora into the bunker. Maya follows suit, shutting the door and keeping Tess and Lucas outside. As soon as they enter the main room, the mother and daughter point their swords at Micah and bind him. Later, Maya speaks with Tess over the communications, and she clarifies that there was merely a misunderstanding. Micah is her guardian, therefore he believes she was in danger when he saw her restrained and being carried away. When Maya urges her to leave because she doesn't believe anything she says, Tess says she would do whatever it takes to acquire Darius' machine. Tess unlocks herself and Lucas with a knife, then declares they're going to use the drill. While caring for Micah's injuries inside, Maya and Zora continue to argue whether or not his story is true. Abruptly, the alert sounds and the computer declares that the system has been compromised. When Zora and Micah attempt to look at the camera, Tess has taped it over. While Lucas is trying to break down the bunker door with a drill, she is also picking up the weapon that Micah dropped. Fortunately, Zora gets an idea and uses some mechanical parts to assemble a little device, which she then places up against the entrance. She breaks the drill by turning it on and sending out an electromagnetic pulse. Tess, not one to give up, ascends to the roof and uses carbon dioxide to force carbon dioxide into the bunker, drastically lowering the oxygen content. Zora and Maya go to put on their masks as soon as the alarm goes off. Zora stays to hold Micah at gunpoint as Maya exits to handle the situation. However, she becomes uneasy when he begins to discuss his little daughter. She hesitates for a long time before deciding to give him the mask in exchange for his answering her inquiries. Micah affirms that Tess actually knew Darius before the end of the world and that they did not murder him. Lucas is meant to be waiting outside at the entrance to launch an attack, but he becomes sidetracked upon noticing something in the garage. He pulls Tess over there, but the emergency lock activates before they can get inside. They are forced to hide as Maya jumps onto the roof and starts shooting. The two quickly come up with a plan, and while Lucas rushes in the direction of the bunker, Tess begins shooting back at Maya. Micah takes advantage of the opportunity to begin fighting against the rope as the inside becomes clear once again and they are able to remove their masks. Suddenly, Tess emerges from concealment and puts on a surrendering front. But this is all a pretext for Lucas to ambush Maya from behind and incite a brawl that breaks Maya's leg. She attacks him with a mop in retaliation, hurting his ear. Unfortunately, Tess knocks her unconscious by surprising her from behind. Simultaneously, Micah breaks free and lunges towards Zora, but she pushes him away by pushing her thumb against Micah's injury. But Micah discovers her weapon and threatens her with a gun. A few minutes later, when Maya is being held captive, Lucas and Tess discover the camera. After tying Zora up, Micah tries to unlock the door but is unable to do so without the code. He suddenly becomes lightheaded from all the blood he lost and passes out there. Zora refuses to open the door, and Lucas threatens to shoot Maya outside, but Zora is unable to defend herself because the microphone is still muted. She drags Micah's radio over with her feet and informs the gang that Micah is dead and she is tied up, thank goodness. Maya is ordered by Tess to unlock the door from this side, but she refuses, explaining that in order to keep others out, a unique badge must be worn in addition to the code. The badge is located inside. Though it's far from there, Maya eventually acknowledges that there is another badge out of desperation to rescue her kid. Lucas stays to observe, but Tess offers to go with her because she has a functional automobile. Maya says they're going to find Darius on the voyage. It turns out that Maya discovered a note he left behind before he departed to mourn his father, explaining that although the machine could no longer maintain clean air for 3 people, it would still give Zora and Maya more time to figure out the seeds. This suggests Darius is actually dead and that his reappearance was not intentional. Lucas is pleased when Zora instructs the computer to play some music back in the bunker. After a few hours, Maya discovers Darius's body, pauses to mourn, and then looks for the badge. The car runs out of power just as the two are about to take off. As Tess tells out that Maya can hardly walk due to her fractured leg, she begs for the badge, pointing out that there is no way she would make it back on foot. Maya agrees to give her the badge and the code after she admits that she once had a daughter and makes a commitment to look after Zora. Tess promises Maya that she will return when she has extra oxygen in her tank before she leaves. After that, Tess begins to run back and, in the midst of the city, she comes upon a bicycle, which she uses to get to the bunker safely. She and Lucas enter with the code and the badge just before their air supply runs out. When Zora asks where Maya is, Tess tells her everything, including Darius's sacrifice, in response to her question. Tess wants to return with Maya and a new mask, but Lucas tells her that if she doesn't start using the machine, he would murder her. When Tess uses a drill to open a panel in Darius' innovation, she discovers a highly sophisticated mechanism, forcing her to acknowledge that her understanding is insufficient to replicate it. Tess eventually confesses that she was lying when she said she had never met Darius and that she had only heard about him and his family via Zora's messages on her radio. This is when Lucas begins to go insane. Although she is technologically savvy enough to assist in the shelter, she wasn't prepared for the machine's degree of complexity. Lucas instantly shoots her out of rage. Lucas sits with Zora during her breakdown, pointing out that she is knowledgeable enough about the machine and the bunker to show him how to operate it, but he won't untie her. Let's go back to Maya, who is sitting in her car and reflecting on her family. When she realizes she only has 21% of oxygen left, she comes to the conclusion that no one will save her before it runs out. She begins to notice something on the ground at that very moment, a tiny plant that is just beginning to sprout. She takes off her mask momentarily and notices that the air is becoming cleaner, which gives her hope. Motivated to persevere, Maya attempts to replenish the vehicle's solar panel. To get rid of the stench, Lucas tosses Tess and Micah's remains outside the bunker. Then he reaches for a food can. However, Zora won't tell him where the opener is, so he bashes the can open. He ignores Zora's criticism that he should be returning to aid his shelter rather than lingering here. Unexpectedly, the alarm sounds, alerting us to a cable issue. Zora can take care of it if Lucas unties her, but he only gives her enough air to keep her from running away for a short while. When Zora reaches the roof and replaces the cables, she finds that Maya was the one who had tampered with them. Zora and Lucas had a nice reunion, but Lucas won't open the door because he wants to see her suffer. The two then decide on a plan. A few moments later, the alarm goes off once more. Lucas gets outside to discover Zora lying on the floor. He starts to pray and hurls mud at her when Maya shoots him, damaging his oxygen tanks as well. Zora shows that she is awake when he tries to move, which causes him to trip. Zora and Maya then flee back into the bunker, but Lucas is able to get to his feet and follows them. The noxious air enters the shelter as he goes through the first door and tackles them to get through the second one as well. Zora warns Lucas that if he fires, it would explode. Lucas demands air as the alarm goes off and threatens the women with his firearm. Lucas is left in a damaged room while Zora and Maya go outside and shut the doors after he permits them to move to remedy the problem. Lucas fires his firearm because he doesn't want to die gradually, and the explosion that follows kills him. Maya and Zora manage to live outside with the help of the masks and flee in the automobile, but their oxygen supply is running low. Recalling Micah's narrative, Zora guides them throughout the city in an attempt to locate the refuge. However, they discover the doors are closed and succumb on the staircase. Maya is startled to wake up refreshed and tidy a few moments later. After hearing them, the shelter staff came to their aid, and Zora is now sharing Darius' computer with them. Mother and daughter collaborate to begin sowing the new seeds and restore flora to the planet with the aid of the survivors. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching my video.